Last year, we wanted to get going on growing food in a garden. The soil on this property is very compacted, very clay, and we felt like the fastest way to start growing some food would be in these raised garden beds. And being our first garden, it did pretty good. Because we had just moved last year, we weren't sure if this was the spot that we wanted our garden. We just kind of just put it in a spot where we thought was good enough to start. Now that we've had this garden for a year, we grew here, and now we realize that we want it in a different spot. We have 2 raised garden beds right now that have garlic growing in them, so we cannot move these beds just yet until we harvest this garlic. We planted this garlic in November and we're gonna harvest it in about June or July. Let's check on, it's Baby Watch 2023. Elvira, how you doing? How's my big girl doing? Oh, she's pregnant, guys. We know it. We know it. We'll have babies probably in the next month, maybe. We gotta move her into a shelter, a bigger shelter, because I think she's gonna be outgrown this thing, especially with little piglets coming. Zeke's doing good over there by himself. There's this little pin on these, you just pop up, and then you can take out the wire. This area right here is where we're gonna put the new garden. This fence right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these posts we have to remove. Now, typically, I would wheelbarrow all of this soil one by one to the new spot. But since my friendly, good neighbor has let me use his tractor, so I get to use a tractor for this time.
Yes, you went all the way.
Concrete it all the way down. Yeah, this concrete. Oh, that was pretty easy. And then what we're gonna do with this spot is move our apple trees. We've already marked off where we want the apple trees. One there, here, pretty much along this little ridge line here. This spot is going to be our apple orchard and fruit trees. I'm gonna save all of these little clips so that way I can use them. It's gonna be so nice when there's not a fence right here, because we're having to crawl through the fence lines every single time. You gotta be careful with this stuff, because this stuff is really springy. It can be hard to manage once you undo it. And I'm gonna try to save all of this if I can. I'm sure I'm gonna use it again at some point. My neighbor, the one who has his tractor here, he's gonna help me dig these posts out. Just a little. It's moving a little bit.
Is it?
Took a little bit, but we got it with the tractor. Yeah. Looks like that pole was an 8-foot tall pole and probably in there about 3 feet. Whoa, look at that. That's a brand new cutoff blade. It just cut in half. That could have been super bad. That could have landed in my head. What the? You know why? Because I bought the Harbor Freight ones. That's why. 2 down. It's gonna be so weird with that fence line not there. Look at this corkscrew, like this was from like the auger, and then pouring the concrete in the hole, and then it formed this corkscrew because the ground is so hard. And now we're in our underground bunker. Show you guys what Lorraine's doing. She's got our freeze dryer out. It's always going.
Yes, well, I want to utilize it as much as I can. So whenever I get a really good deal at the grocery store, so I got some citrus, which is hard to come by here in North Carolina. So I bought a whole bunch of lemons and a whole bunch of limes, and I wanted to preserve them before they started to go bad. This is what I've been doing, is I've been slicing the lemons and limes and freeze drying them. So I've got some for immediate use here. These are still freeze dried. They're in a mason jar with an oxygen absorber in them, and I can drop them into soup. I can drop them into hot tea. This is the lemons, and they're delicious. They just come right back to life. And then vacuum sealing them into little packets here so I can save them for long-term storage. Love having this workstation. It's just a table with my vacuum sealer.
Our bunkers are always a work in progress. This is probably not the best safe electrical here. I keep thinking that there's a fence line right here. Now I know how the pigs feel. I think this is gonna be a lot better spot than our previous garden spot, because this is where we get wood chips dumped. If we can, they wouldn't go down that way. And then also if we get compost or soil, they could just dump it right here, which is gonna be next to the garden. We have strawberries in these beds. They're growing, no strawberries yet. But so we can probably dig up some of them strawberries and transplant them and move them over there. One-year-old kale is still growing. Look at that, still going strong. Collards. Before we bring in the soil, we need to figure out exactly where these are going to be.
Maybe just a little bit closer this way, but I like how you lined them straight, because before, like, everything was kind of off-centered, and I feel like symmetrical is always best.
Where do you want me to stop? Tell me
okay,
to stop.
Right there.
These strawberry plants look like they're growing pretty good. We planted these late last year, so we never have gotten strawberries from these just yet. It's so nice to be digging in the soil once again, especially when you first do it just after winter. Everything is a learning experience. Nothing's a mistake. You know, we put it here, we thought this was a good idea, and not to say it wasn't, it's just I think we have a different vision now. We could see more of our land. We've been here a year. You know, previously we had only been here like 2 months when we put this garden in last year. Now that we've been here a while, you know, we kind of know a little bit better our land. You know, we know how the land lays a little bit better. We're gonna have multiple spots for a garden. We still want to have an in-ground garden which we're trying to scout out a location for that, but we think it's going to be probably where the pigs are at currently, our feeder pigs, and then put it in there. I want to get a giant row of pumpkins. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be in one spot. I had these at, let's see, let's check the measurement on these. These are about 6 feet apart. I'm gonna have to do them wider on the other spot because I have a bigger mower now. I'm going around adjusting everything, make sure everything's 7 feet. So about a year ago, when we filled these raised beds, we added logs in here. So there's a bunch of logs. Practice to use that loader, because I picture it would just scoop that up really easy, but I think it's probably the way I'm using it. I think I need a little practice here, but let's see, got some of these big logs. As I move in the soil, I'm seeing a lot of worms in here, and I'm already realizing is that we're gonna need more soil. We added cardboard in them. That's to help with the weeds, and I know there's gonna be grasses popping up. But this part of the land here, it doesn't grow that much. I mean, I still mow it, but for the most part, it kind of just stays slow like that. I promise you, they are not coffins. Those 3 are done. I still got to move this dirt, and then we need to dig up our apple trees and plant those over there in our new orchard. I need to redo this fence line, and then eventually put an entryway here, a gate, so we could drive in. But this land is already looking different than what we found. I'm still used to it being a wire there. A couple things that need to happen still is we need more soil to fill up these raised beds, and I'm gonna have to be building more raised beds. At least 5 more raised beds I need to build. We like the look of raised beds. They're easier to work in, they're easier to weed, and you know, the reality is we're all getting older. So these are a lot easier to work in when you are older because you don't have to bend down so much. The strawberries are in. 1 bed, 2 beds. We still have a ton of work to do with this garden, but if you guys want to see another video of me building these raised garden beds, I show you a how-to. Plus I have plans on our website. I'll leave that link right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.